A Sign of Affection is a romance anime airing in the winter 2024 season. It's a really great romance story. It's pretty lighthearted for the most part. The story revolves around Yuki Itose, who is deaf, which is part of the double entendre of the name, A Sign of Affection, because obviously she uses sign language. She's on the subway, and a guy asks for directions, and she thinks that he's speaking English and doesn't respond. Itsuomi Nagi is a good looking guy at her college who's a couple years older than her, helps the guy figure out where he's going, and then speaks to Yuki. Yuki is 19, he's 22. The show primarily revolves around her and the development of their relationship, and there's a little bit of drama mixed in, but it's not very heavy. The show, for the most part, is pretty lighthearted, and something that it does really well is balance her insecurities about being deaf and kind of the seriousness of her situation without getting too serious. It never gets preachy or anything like that. It's just something that she has to deal with in her day-to-day life. And because of technology, she communicates primarily through sign language or texting. She can also do a little bit of lip reading, but that's kind of hit and miss. But because there's lip reading involved, it has an interesting animation style where the lips of the characters are actually drawn on. And obviously in most anime shows, their mouth is just a line. So it's a bit of an adjustment to get used to, but it's necessary for the story. Obviously it's very detailed with the hands and fingers and the faces and lips because of the nature of the story. The show has some good humor also, and some of it stems from her deafness, but it's never at the expense of her, which is also a pretty tricky thing to do that I think it does very well. It allows for humor to happen without making fun of her or making her seem like a lesser person or anything like that. There's quite a few characters in the show. These are the main two, with Yuki being the focus. Oshi Ashioki is her childhood friend who learned sign language to speak with her. And he's obviously got a thing for her and he's jealous. He's very protective of her because she's deaf and she's a girl and he's jealous. Itsuomi has a friend, Kiyoya. They hang out at his bar quite a bit with their little friend group. And Yuki's best friend is Rin Fujishiro. And she takes classes with her, helps take notes because obviously she can't hear. They communicate a lot and she's really supportive of Yuki and her romance throughout the show. There's a little bit of drama from a girl named Emma Nakasono, who very obviously has a crush on Itsuomi. So that's its own little side story. And then their mutual friend, Shin Uryu, who's a hairstylist, very clearly has a crush on Emma that we see, but none of the characters are aware of. So that's where a little bit of the drama comes in. It's not a show that plays into love triangles and dragging things out and drama. It really focuses on the main two. There's a lot of super wholesome moments. A big part of Itsuomi's character is that he travels a lot and he does charity work and that sort of thing. So he's multilingual, and once he meets Yuki, he immediately starts taking up sign language because he wants to communicate with her. So there's just a lot of really nice little moments like that. I don't want to spoil anything because you should just go watch it yourself. This is a show that I think handles having a main character with a disability really well without being preachy, without lecturing the audience. It's just a good character-driven story. It's very wholesome. All the relationships feel very natural. It's just a really good show. I like the humor. I like the little bit of drama. It's not overdone and dragged out. I don't want to give any spoilers, but it's definitely not a rent-a-girlfriend type situation where it'll need 5 seasons before you see any progress. It kind of reminds me of an adult version of Dangers in Their Heart, where it very clearly focuses on the main couple and the development of their relationship. Obviously, they're more mature because they're adults. So with Dangers in Their Heart, you get the comedic, awkward middle school humor, and this is much more adult, kind of natural humor for that age. And the situations that come up do come up because they're adults and they're in college and all that sort of thing that isn't possible when you have a setting in a middle school or high school. And I don't want to go too long because this is mainly just a little summary video. If you haven't seen the show, there's no spoilers. Pretty much just a recommendation for people to watch. I've seen 2 anime things that focus on deaf girls. One is A Silent Voice and the other one is this one. And both of them, I think, nail it, even though they're tonally way different. If you've seen A Silent Voice, this is kind of like the happy parts of A Silent Voice. Without all the bullying and redemption arc that makes that movie a little bit more serious to watch. And the show does a really good job of creating good moments through sign language, through texting. It's pretty impressive, I think, actually, from a writing perspective, to be able to leverage those things into really wholesome moments. Like one thing that comes up, and this is a very minor spoiler, but I just want to give an example, is her friend Rin comes up from behind her and her childhood friend Oshi is like, you shouldn't do that because she can't hear you. You could scare her. And later on, a situation similar to this happens with Itsuomi, and she says it's okay if it's you, which is obviously just a nice little moment between the two of them. So you get this kind of thing throughout the show. I'm not sure how many people who watch my stuff are into romance, but it's just a really good show. My wife and I watched the first 8 episodes in like 2 days. So yeah, I don't want to go too long. It's a show that I think pretty much anyone could like, even if romance and drama stuff isn't your thing. There are some shows that I think are just broadly appealing, and this is one of them. So I'm not going to keep rambling. If you've seen the show, comment, let me know what you think. I'll respond. If you haven't seen it and you end up watching it, let me know what you thought. Like and subscribe and all that. Thanks. See ya.